So welcome back to my shed. The last time I did something like this, you'll probably remember, was when I was working on the 1959 matchless G12, which gave me an immense amount of pleasure. Not just rebuilding it, but also riding it as well. And she's going very well. I'm looking forward to the new season. But since then, I've been working on a 1951 Royal Enfield J2, which is this motorcycle here. And this has given me a great deal of pleasure as well, and I can't wait to get this out in the new season. But the reason why I'm doing this little bit of film today is to share with you a little job that's been handed in to me by a chap in the village, a chap called Martin. And what he's doing is he's doing a bit of a Bitzer project on a motorcycle, and he's asked me to machine this top yoke here and get it to fit over the fork legs. And well, there's quite a few things to consider on this, and what I'll do is I'll just bring you a little bit closer now, and what I'll do is I'll just explain what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and whether it can be done, because I have my reservations about this, but I'll make that clear as this little bit of film actually goes on. So anyway, I'll bring you a little bit closer and let you have a look at what we're doing here. So now you're in a little bit closer, you can see what we're trying to achieve here. So what we have is we have a top yoke off, I believe, a Cagiva. I could be wrong, but Martin tells me that that's what this yoke came off. I don't know what the forks came off. I think he told me actually, but I just can't remember. But whatever the case, they are completely incompatible in the sense that this diameter here is far greater than the hole that they've got to go into. So what we've got to do is we've got to find a way of machining accurately these two holes out of here, making sure that everything's all nicely trued up and that everything's parallel with the main headstock bolt here. And what I did was I actually just checked to see how parallel these are, and I mean, it wasn't nothing scientific. I mean, I just got the square in there and had a little look at it, and eyeballed it, and they seem to be perfectly parallel. So so there is a relationship between all of these three holes in the sense of the parallel nature of them. So anyway, when we measure this particular fork leg here, we get a reading of just under 53 millimeters, and our opening here where this fork leg has to go into is just under 50 millimeters. So we've got 3 millimeters of material to take out of these openings here, these holes, which means there is 1.5 millimeters per side that we're taking out of here. Now, I did mention just a few moments ago, before we came onto this, was that I had my concerns about taking that amount of material out. And if you look here at this, this is the pinch bolt that runs through here to clamp the yoke onto the fork leg. And my fear is what's going to happen is if we take 1.5 millimeters out of here per side, what's actually going to happen is that we're going to break through into this into this pinch bolt here, and what will mean is that the pinch bolt threads will be exposed, and of course that means that you'll need to machine back the threads on that to make sure that, that there's clearance for the fork leg, which again is weakening the pinch bolt. And of course, obviously, what we've done is we've taken material out, which is weakened that as well. So that's a concern. But the other concern I've got also here is if we look at where the clip-ons or handlebars go in here, we're going to be taking again 1.5 millimeters from this side, and I just feel that this is going to be so weak that it gives me some concern. However, I've discussed this with Martin, and he reckons that this is a perfectly reasonable modification to make, and it's been done before, and it's good to go. So he seems to be comfortable with it. So all I can do really is just get on and just get these holes machined out. Which brings me now to how we're going to do that. So we know that these three holes are parallel, that they're running in a parallel plane. And I've already mentioned that it's going to be very, very difficult to try and clamp this in a vise. We're just never going to be able to get this trued up. So what I did was I cut myself here a bit of 2.5 inch diameter cold rolled steel, just mild steel. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a jig. And what I'm going to rely on is I'm going to rely on this machined hole in here and also this machined surface. And if we can get that registered, get this jig to register on that internal diameter and also that machined face, the theory being is, I'm just holding this down here, the theory being is that when we get this indicated, in other words, once we get this all trued up, we should actually be able to machine this out, and we still keep the parallel nature between all of the three holes, and that's how I feel that this should be done. So the other thing as well is that we've got to find a way of closing up, or at least giving some rigidity in these gaps here, because these are open here, allowing obviously for the pinch bolt to go through and to be able to clamp onto the fork leg. Now, what's going to happen here is that once we start machining this, is that this is going to start opening out a little bit, and I can even just open it out just with my hand there. So this will start opening out, and then what we'll do is we'll get a resonance in here. It'll just start to vibrate. The finish will be appalling. So what we've got to do here is we've got to close these gaps, and I've got to tighten this up. And what I've found is that this particular shim stock here, which is brass, is just above 1.5 millimeters. And this just slides into this gap here, and it's a nice fit in there. So what we'll do is we'll make up a couple of spacers and also 2 screws, basically pinch bolts. I don't actually have the socket screws that go in here, so I'll need to make something up. And then what we'll do then is we'll just add tension onto this, which hopefully will stop any vibration occurring in here. So that's what we'll do. So I'm going to go ahead now and actually make these little washers up, and also the little pinch bolts, which is not a difficult exercise. And then I'll come back, and then what we'll do then is we'll have a look at machining the jig, and I'll show you how we'll do that.